Kay? Jacob asked in confusion. Yes, Kathy, your class president, Kyle said, slightly gritting his teeth. Jacob and the others were stunned again. They didn't expect Kathy's name to come up in this conversation. Why would she train Jacob for basketball? She's my sister. She isn't too good at the game, but good enough for a noob like you, Kyle said as he looked at Jacob. Sister? After some murmuring, the guys couldn't help but shout, Sister! When comparing the sweet and timid-looking Kathy to a brawny and buff Kyle, no one would believe that they were related. This gorilla is related to Kathy? Our Kathy? Some of the guys thought. Why are you all so surprised? Kyle looked at them emotionlessly and asked. All of them immediately straightened up and shook their heads. Even though they had a huge advantage in number against Kyle, no sane person would want to get on his bad side. Jacob thought back to the morning when he rode the bicycle with Kathy in the back seat after they had spent the night at the karaoke place. They entered from the west entrance, and there were many hotels nearby. They bumped into Kyle, who was out on a morning run with his team. At that moment, Kathy was sitting in the back and was holding on to his lower waist. That'll be all. You will come to the school's main entrance and gather with us at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll start with a morning run, and then you'll join the regular training, Kyle said to Sam. Then he turned to Jacob and said, with his signature cold face, I'll have Kay teach you the basic basketball moves one by one. Same time in the morning at 6 o'clock, and you'll train in the outdoor basketball court. After he said what he had to, Kyle didn't waste any more time on them and turned around to leave. By then, all of Jacob's friends had forgotten about their resentment towards Kyle and were intrigued by the prospect of getting one-on-one training from a beautiful girl like Kathy. One of the guys stopped Kyle and asked him courageously, Hey, bro, can I join the basketball team as well? While saying so, he rolled up his sleeves and revealed the round muscles on his shoulder. Look, I'm strong too, and I'm also tall, he added. Kyle glanced at him and interrupted his dreams with one sentence. You still have a long way to go. Then, the captain of the basketball team turned around and walked away steadily. Soon, everyone on the court could only look at his towering figure from afar. The guy who approached Kyle was struck badly by his disdainful sentence. He turned to Sam and asked, Ain't I strong? Don't forget your brothers now that you're on the basketball team and all. Sam, you have to recommend me. His eagerness to join the team seemed to have helped him forget how he looked at Sam as a traitor just a minute ago when Sam agreed to join the basketball team. Everything happened all of a sudden, and it took Ryan and the others a while to get all the facts straight. Sam was recruited to the basketball team, and Jacob would play in the basketball game for their university in the coming week. Furthermore, Sam was going to attend the training, and Jacob would be instructed by Kathy on the basic basketball moves. But the biggest shocker of all was that the beautiful Kathy was actually Kyle's younger sister. Not only were Ryan and the others dazed, but Sam himself was also confused. He didn't expect that fighting with the members of the basketball team would bring him such fortune. He got Kyle's attention and was recruited to the basketball team to fill the vacancies. In addition, he was getting the most important position on the team, the point guard. However, none of them knew that Kyle was really eager to recruit Jacob for next week's game. Only his level of stamina and strength could help them with this tough battle when the main players were missing. Kyle's original intention had been to punish the people who damaged his team so badly, but seeing both of them in action today made him change his plans. Winning was the most important thing to him, no matter who played. Even though Sam had potential, it would take time to train him. Fortunately, Jacob understood the meaning of a bundled sale of his friend and himself. Kyle only praised Sam on the surface, but he actually thought highly of Jacob. He wouldn't have recruited Sam either if Jacob had refused to join the team. Since the training would be very tough, He didn't want to make it seem like he was avenging what had happened earlier. That was why he had his sister instruct Jacob instead of putting him on the basketball team for the intensive training. He didn't praise Jacob because he was afraid that Jacob would get too confident and cocky. As a matter of fact, the key to winning the game next week was Jacob. Kyle wasn't stupid. He had a thoughtful and steady way of dealing with things. If not, how could he otherwise lead the basketball team of their university to the championship in the National College Basketball League? He had to play his cards very carefully if he wanted to take full advantage of Jacob's potential and still keep the position of power to himself. On the other hand, Jacob wasn't stupid either. He accepted Kyle's request because he wanted to help his friend, Sam. He understood Kyle's game and couldn't let it affect Sam. He was planning to help Sam score a lot in next week's game. Even though he didn't know much about basketball, he knew Sam's performance in the first game would determine his future on the basketball team. "Sam, you gotta treat us now that you've successfully gotten on the basketball team." The guy, who couldn't be on the basketball team, yelled to Sam in distress. "Do you ever think about anything other than free food?" Sam hit the guy's head with his hand, turned around, and told Ryan, "Call everyone from our floor. I'll treat you guys." He couldn't stop smiling. Good luck had just dropped from the sky. He brought Jacob to play basketball and got scouted by the basketball team's captain. If he did well in the next week's game and became a permanent member of the basketball team, he would have a chance to play in the National College Basketball League. After this incident, they weren't in the mood to play more basketball. Ryan wanted to go back and spread the news, and Sam was also in a rush to tell his friends from high school about his great news. Thus, everyone dispersed. When Ryan brought his basketball back to the dorm, Sam went to invite his high school friends, who were also studying at their university, and the rest of Sam's roommates followed Ryan to join in on the fun. Jacob saw that it was almost 4 o'clock, so he thought for a while and decided to meet Susan. Ever since Susan put the heavy bracelets on his wrists, Jacob didn't dare to go into her office again. However, it wouldn't work if he kept on avoiding her. After all, he still needed her to advise him on cultivation. Although Elder Liam was kind, he was really busy, and Jacob didn't want to trouble him too often. Jacob came to the door of Susan's office exactly at 4 o'clock. He knocked on the door, heard Susan say, "Come in," and pushed the door open to go inside. Susan was sitting on a chair while leaning against the window. Resting her legs on top of a stool, she was reading a magazine. She didn't even look up once Jacob stood in front of her, staring awkwardly. She just turned a page in her magazine and said casually, "Start your cultivation." "Oh, okay." Jacob walked over to the empty chair across from her and sat down on it. Before he closed his eyes, Jacob looked at Susan, who sat in front of him, again. He saw her grabbing the coffee cup on the windowsill and flipping through the magazine as she took a sip. If she wasn't a teacher, Susan could have actually been a model. Jacob had a random thought. Susan seemed to have sensed Jacob staring, so she said, while reading, "You were in the spotlight today." "Are you talking about the rock climbing club?" Jacob asked, to be sure. "What else could it be?" Susan asked rhetorically. Jacob smiled and didn't say anything. He thought Susan didn't really care about other matters and only cared about cultivation. It didn't seem that an inspector like her was actually aware of everything that happened on campus, but she was. "Did you go to the Dragon Palace last weekend?" Susan asked. "Yeah," Jacob said, nodding. Jacob was actually a little afraid of Susan. She was no doubt a secret agent of the Dragon Tribe. The inspector's abilities at information gathering were very intimidating, and so he decided to shut his eyes and begin cultivating.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.